earth, the sky, space, the stars? Is it just this narrative self that I have constructed with a name and an identity and a birth certificate and qualifications and personal life history? Or is it more? What does that look like? That ability to embrace. Sometimes we have the capacity naturally, and that's wonderful. But what do you do if you don't? If on that day, in that moment, it feels like this is too much. I can't embrace this. This suffering is too much for me to handle. It's too painful. I can't deal with it. I just want to cover it up. Then we need help. We need to know how to find that capacity to embrace the difficulty. And one way, which I really invite you to try, is to expand your frame of reference. So it's true that when an uncomfortable feeling is present, if it's just me that has to hold it, that has to deal with it, it may well be too much. I may well be unable to deal with it. But what if I'm not just this? What if instead I am this? The earth, the sky, space, the stars. Then I have some capacity. And that is not just an act of wishful thinking or imagination. That's actually the truth. That is what we are. But we need to train ourselves in order to make that a reflex. Because we have the reflex when we suffer of contracting. This is very, very normal. When we feel some difficulty, some pain, we contract around it. We actually make ourselves smaller, and we feel that the pain is everything that we are. It occupies our whole being, and it is, of course, overwhelming. So we need to establish some space around it. The first thing we can do is actually to establish that space within our own body, to find that maybe this pain and this discomfort that I feel actually doesn't occupy the whole of me. A little bit of the spirit of investigation, of curiosity, to start to notice, oh, okay, what about my fingertips? What about my hands? Are they feeling this overwhelming nausea and sense of despair? Not really. Feel quite nice. It's a real thing, that there's a difference between maybe what we feel here and what we feel in our hands, in our feet, in our face. So we expand the sphere of our awareness, of our mindfulness. We start to include more in the field of our awareness. And we can go further. We know, intellectually we know, right, that we are vast in time and space. Right? Intellectually you know that you are the continuation of your ancestors. That all of your ancestors, in some sense, are present with you, now, in you, in every cell of your body. But there's a big difference between that intellectual understanding and a lived experience of that as a place of refuge, as a place of strength. So it's something that we need to cultivate. You can't just turn it on all of a sudden and that's that. You know, of course, you may have a kind of breakthrough experience in touching the earth and you suddenly see it and you feel it in your whole body and it's amazing. But then you need to cultivate that. We need to make it a habit to invoke the strength and the stability, the security of our entire lineage. And not just blood, but our spiritual lineage. Our friends. And the whole of the history of evolution. The truth is that we are survivors. We're not weak, we are strong. Every single one of us is the product of an unbroken chain of survivors. Every single one of our ancestors lived to the moment of reproduction, at least. Otherwise we wouldn't be here. So they survived everything that history threw at them. That's amazing, because so many didn't. We have all of that strength in us. Not just our human ancestors, but going back further. All the way back. That's in the dimension of time, but also in the dimension of space. Now, in this moment. We know intellectually that we cannot live, that a part of our life is the forest. It's our lungs. Part of our life is the sun. If the sun were to vanish this instant, how long would life survive on this planet? It would get very cold very quickly and very dark. We could burn all the oil reserves and maybe survive a little bit, huddled around whatever we could burn. We would not last very long. The sun is part of our body. The oceans, the forests, the air, the insects, the fungi, even the bacteria. We inter-are, we're in this constant relationship of exchange. And if we can take that from being just something that we get intellectually, sure, to being a lived awareness, something that you can actually feel and experience, then our ability to hold and to embrace pain changes. It makes a real difference, and I invite you to experiment with this, to actually try. The next time you have to face a difficult emotion, and I hope that is not soon, but you never know, next time it happens, try to remember, who is holding this feeling? Is it just me? Is it just this narrative self that I have constructed with a name and an identity and a birth certificate and qualifications and personal life history? Or is it more? Feel the earth under your feet. Is the earth small? No. It's vast. And it's part of you. You are the earth. The earth is you. It's not outside of you. And it dramatically changes your ability to hold the discomfort, the pain. It's something to experiment with. And sit there. It feels unbearable. But then you remember, I'm not just this. What if I allow the trees, the sky, the sunlight, the grass, the earth under me, the air, to be part of this embracing? And it actually is. It's not your imagination. This is actually what is happening. But we need to let it in.